We like that. Woo!
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, aka B Jizzle. Before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe all of our YouTube videos. Hit that like button as y'all come in here as well. You know what I'm saying? Wipe your feet before you enter this house. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button, and go to our super stickers and super comments that are available. If you guys have a comment that you guys want to drop in the chat box, if I do not see it as I'm doing the show, hit that super sticker button where it says thanks, that you guys can hit that button, drop your comment, question, I'll see it instantly on the screen. Or you can go to our Cash App, which is $BJ Matthews. Again, $BJ Matthews. I'll get all the questions and comments answered if you guys are able to see it. Now, before we get started, I am coming from my internet, I'm coming from my laptop. If I do not sound clear, or if something sounds staticky, or if you guys cannot hear me, make sure y'all let me know in the comment section, and I'll be sure to switch over to my phone, and then that way, you know what I'm saying, we can continue the show. But like I said, hit the like button as y'all come in here, hit the share, hit the subscribe. Let's go through some of the comments right now. Mrs. Tay said, welcome to the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Our moderator, please share this live and subscribe to the channel. Yes, ma'am. Please subscribe and share to the channel. Hit the like button to support as well. You know what I'm saying? Nothing, no cause for no likes. Shout out to my man Plays for Keep. He said, BJ, what's good, my guy? Smash that like button. Let me know in the comment sections that y'all hear. Hit the share, hit the subscribe as well. Again, if you guys hear any type of static, or if y'all cannot hear me at all, or if I sound a little fidgety, I will switch over to my phone, and that way we can go ahead and continue the show, get the show going. But welcome to the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. A lot of great, things we're going to talk about today. And we're going to get into some things that, it's going to be a little bit controversial, man, because, yeah, y'all see the title. Y'all see the title before y'all got here. Y'all see the situation, what happened yesterday with the USA team. So we're going to get into it, man, because we got a lot to expound on. But yesterday, of course, USA took a suffering loss, 113-111, against the Germany basketball team in the FIBA World Games. And I think they're playing in Manila in the Philippines. They did take a 113-111 loss to Germany, led by, LA Lakers former star and LA Lakers former player Dennis Schroeder, who's now with the Toronto Raptors. They lost to the German team. So that will place USA in the bronze division, where they'll be play up against the Canadian basketball team and SGA. Dylan Brooks, they're going to be playing up against that team, right? Now, where do I start? First of all, the thumbnail reads, we have a deeper issue. And what I mean by a deeper issue, what I'm saying is, I'm not going to focus extremely on just the loss. Okay, I know that's what people think I'm going to do. I'm just going to focus on the loss. I'm like, oh my gosh, USA lost the game against, the German team, and how could they lose, and da-da-da-da. You got people on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all through social media going crazy over the USA losing to another team. Shout out to the people in here, man. We should have over 5 likes right now. We have over 5 people, so hit that like button as y'all come in here. Let me know in the comment section that y'all in here as well. But nonetheless, yeah, I know people are gonna think, well, I'm gonna come in here and just rant about USA losing to a overseas team, and that is the smallest part of this whole conversation. We have a bigger thing we got to talk about, and that goes to, what USA is basketball, what are they doing right now? And I'm not just talking about the pro level. I'm talking about all levels, the minor league, the high schoolers, the college, AAU, everything leading up to the pros. What direction are we moving? So I put a poll question, and you guys on YouTube, y'all can answer it for yourself. Is USA basketball moving backwards? Right? Is USA basketball moving backwards as a whole? I have to ask that question for a number of reasons, because I've been seeing the trend for quite some time. And it, what I'm saying, it goes back to just basketball in general, that if you have a situation where you got a certain culture of NBA players playing, this is what the product that a lot of these younger players see on the NBA stage. So you guys got to remember, this is not starting at the NBA plus. This is a problem that's starting at a younger age. And then you see the flummox of players right now coming into the league. You know, the 20 to 25-year-olds, 25 to 28-year-olds, like the young guys, they're coming in here and they're expounding what they've learned, and they're showing it to the youth. So I want to first talk about a former player, of course, one of the greatest players of all time. Y'all see the screen right there, Mr. Kobe Bryant. You know, rest in peace to the Black Mamba, one of the greatest players of all time, of course. You know, 5-time champion, you know what I'm saying, scoring champion twice, you know, two times finals MVP, 1-time season MVP, multiple all defensive, all NBA teams, 81-point game, second most points in NBA in a game in NBA history. I mean, the list just goes on and on. Kobe Bryant, 20-year career with the same team, arguably the best LA Laker of all time. And then he goes off, you know, in 2016. He becomes an entrepreneur, very successful businessman. You know, just knows basketball, very articulate. It's a shame that he was taken from us so early, because I really believe had Kobe Bryant still been here, a lot of things would be different. Not just with the basketball on the men's side, but the women's side as well. This guy truly, truly cared about, you know, the game, and truly, truly cared about where the game was going. And he was a person that really kind of already foreseen what I'm about to talk about right now. And Tay said in the comments, Kobe, yep, Kobe Bryant, baby. Kobe Bryant, yes, sir. Yes, sir. But here's the deal. Kobe Bryant grew up in Italy. He is American, of course, but he grew up in Italy. You know, his father played for the Italian basketball team overseas. Kobe Bryant spoke 4 languages. I believe he spoke English, Italian, Spanish, and Mandarin, which is, you know what I'm saying, Asian, Chinese. So he was a very, very rare breed. So not only was Kobe Bryant a player in person that, you know, got the benefits of being able to be taught overseas in the lifestyle, but he also became, you know, what he is over here in America, what we know and love. So he kind of was the best of both worlds. You can listen to a player like Kobe Bryant because he was somebody that could tell you, okay, this is what it is overseas and this is what it is over here in the U.S. And I could kind of foresee what was, you know, what was happening. That's what Kobe Bryant's mindset is. That's why when he spoke on interviews, that's why when he spoke to younger players, or when he was training younger players, or whatever the case may be, I was always keen into what he was talking about because he experienced both sides. So he foresaw what's going on with the USA basketball and the overseas basketball scene. So I'm going to read a couple, you know what I'm saying, short articles. As I want y'all to also, again, sit back, relax, smash that like button for the people coming here. Smash that like button for your boy. I'm going to read a couple articles, couple short sentences from the Black Mamba, speaking about, you know what I'm saying, the growth of overseas basketball. I'm going to start with this one, actually. Move this out the way so y'all can see properly. This was back in 2019. Of course, you know, just a little bit before he passed, I think 4 months before he passed, you know, September 14, 2019. He said, the world has caught up with the USA, says Kobe Bryant. And what does he mean by he says the world has caught up with the USA? Well, he went on a little short spiel about that. He says, you know, Kobe Bryant says the European players are more skilled than American players. And then he goes into expounding by saying, he said, continuing in his vein of rampant honest, Kobe Bryant said Friday night that European basketball players are more skilled than American basketball players. I just think European basketball players are way more skillful. They are just taught the game the right way at an early age. They're more skillful. It's something we really have to fix. We really have to address that. We have to teach our kids to play the right way. He goes out and continues, says Kobe Bryant was born in Philadelphia, but his father, former NBA player Joe Bryant, moved his family to Italy. Like I was just saying earlier, he was, you know, he's from America, but he was living in Italy because his father played professional basketball overseas, where they would live until his retirement in 1999. Kobe Bryant places a lot of stock in his European upbringing. Yes, sir, he does. As far as the development of his game goes, when asked what would have been different had he never moved to Italy, he said, and I quote, I probably wouldn't be able to shoot. I probably wouldn't be able to dribble with my left and shoot with my left and have good footwork. So basically, in a nutshell, he wouldn't even have the fundamentals that he had. Kobe Bryant was probably the best off-ball skilled player that we've ever seen in the NBA. footwork, shooting, dribbling, all the basics. Kobe Bryant probably was the most skillful basketball player that we've ever seen and laid eyes on. Guys, as y'all come in here, smash that like button, hit that like button, like Mrs. Tay said. Have a great, show for y'all today. Salute to Pagan. He said, salute everybody. Yes, sir. Appreciate you coming in, bro. But piggybacking what Kobe just said, he was very, very complimentary of the European game, and he also credited his game based off of, European players and what they're able to do. How, you have to be able to shoot. He can shoot his left hand. He can do good footwork. They taught him all the fundamentals and the basics. This is coming from, one of the top 5 greatest players of all time in my opinion. With that being said, I want to also talk about, a quote that he said, or a little short video. He talked about the AAU scene and how he feels like American basketball is like doing a disservice to AAU players because they're not teaching them how to play the game of basketball the right way. So I'm going to give y'all a little short audio, about a minute audio of Kobe Bryant talking. And I'm going to want y'all to kind of, take heed to what he's saying, because I think there's a lot of gems. Like I told y'all, anytime Kobe Bryant speaks, I'm always keen into what he's talking about. So we're going to go into a little short minute, spill. And Kobe Bryant's going to talk about the AAU scene. So y'all sit tight.
Kobe, you've been pretty critical of the AAU system and the way American players are brought up.
Not pretty critical. I'm extremely critical. Because it doesn't teach our players how to play the right way. How to think the game, how to play in combinations of threes. I think everything is it's a reward system. I think coaches who are teaching the game are getting rewarded on the fashion or another. It's just a showcase.
Do you feel like
it's absolutely horrible for the game.
The young guys that are coming up, do you feel like the game is kind of stiff, whereas when your guys were more skilled?
Yeah, but I think that was just by luck. The generation that I grew up in, you know what I mean? Because like my generation is when the AAU basketball really started becoming shit. And I got lucky because I grew up in Europe. Right. Everything there was still fundamental, so I learned all the basics. And I think we're doing a tremendous disservice to our young basketball players right now. That's something that definitely needs to be fixed. It's going to be one of the things that I definitely focus on.
All right. So I hope y'all was able to hear that. That was Kobe Bryant in a short audio after a game against the Memphis Grizzlies. I think he was still playing in the NBA at that time. And he spoke about, just how bad the AAU scene is for NBA players, or how bad the AAU scene is for American players in general, young players who are coming up trying to learn the game of basketball. For those who do not know what AAU basketball is players who play in the spring and the summer, and they get the opportunity to play in showcases and different tournaments around the country to, showcase their skills. A lot of the big time, scouts and coaches are at those same events. Again, these are tournaments and showcases that they play throughout the spring and summer. The top players go out there and play, and they play in all these different games. Now, you would think in your mind, you hear that, it's like, okay, well, that's what you want. You want to get college coaches to recruit high school players and, get them the chance to travel and experience and play. That's a great thing. It's not the fact that it's the opportunity. It's the fact that the game is in return being, lessened. In Kobe Bryant's opinion, they're not teaching these kids how to actually play the game of basketball. They're exploiting these kids to just be a product of money and, get as much, dollars in their pockets as possible. And when I say they, I'm talking about, the directors and the owners and the people who put on all these events. They're not teaching these kids. Kobe just said very, very distinctively, when he was playing overseas in Italy, they had actual, drills, and the coaches would care about the development of the young players. They don't care about the development of the young players here in the States. They care more about making money, and they care more about putting on these different tournaments and showcases. And it's showing in their games. The skill set, the fundamentals is showing in the American players, vice versa, the players overseas. Now, there's a difference between being skilled and being fundamental. Okay, yes, players in America are skilled as far as, how fancy they can dribble the ball and, You know what I'm saying? How they're able to be, you know, elusive with the basketball, how they can do the little jelly off the fit. That's skill. But the fundamentals are things like the footwork. The fundamentals are the things like, you know, knowing how to actually play help side defense, knowing how to move the ball around, know how to move without the ball. All the fundamental drills that we don't teach over here, and I know because I've been around the AAU scene for years, and my little brother plays AAU basketball, been to multiple practices. Even at this time, the coaches are really not teaching everything they can teach when it comes to teaching these kids how to play basketball. Y'all smash that like button as y'all come in here. Yes, y'all come in here and smash that like button. But nonetheless, and also hit the poll if you guys have, you know, the poll, what y'all think is USA basketball moving backwards. All right, so notice I ain't even touched really on the USA game yet because it's not about the USA game, but it's a part of it. I'm gonna get into that in a minute, but everything Kobe Bryant said was correct. It's not worth it, you know what I'm saying, exploiting kids just to make more money in return to not teaching them the game of basketball, not teaching them the fundamentals, not teaching them how to actually play the right way. Right? I played overseas, like I told y'all before, I played over in Asia. And I can attest that when I played over there were certain things I learned over there that I never learned in the U.S. About culture, how the team plays, how, you know, how to actually, you know what I'm saying, back cut the correct way. Certain schemes and plays that I can run through. And I will have an advantage when I come back to the States. And that's why you see a lot of these players, these top players like Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic saying that the game is much easier. Giannis Antetokounmpo say the game is much easier over here. And you have to think about what they're talking about. How can a person coming from a different country where people continuously say the U.S. has the best players, they coming over here and telling y'all that it's easier to score over here. The defense ain't as physical. You know what I'm saying? We can play in this type of environment, atmosphere, and then they show y'all on the court that they're able to do it at a high level. So we gotta read between the lines, y'all. We gotta read between what these players overseas are doing. Right? So let me go into something else before I, you know, go into the spiel about my opinion. Another player who spoke about something I want to talk about is Will Barton. Will Barton, former player for the Denver Nuggets, played for the Washington Wizards. I think he just retired, if I'm not mistaken, last season, or the season before that, 1-2. Will Barton, a shooting guard, you know what I'm saying, talked about, you know, he was born in the 90s as well, around my era. I think he's 29 years old, 29, 30 years old. He's a free agent. He was on a podcast. I want y'all to look this up. He's on a podcast called Ball Don't Stop. Ball Don't Stop Podcast. BALL Don't Stop Podcast. And he talked about a lot of things. He talked about Kobe Bryant as well. But one of the things he really expounded on was how the players today are different from the players of his generation, my generation, right? My decade, or the 27 to about 30-year-old, 32-year-old guys. He said that the players today don't go outside and play. They don't really hoop no more. That's what he said. They don't hoop. And when I'm talking about that, they don't really play on the blacktop. You drive around in your car, you know, back in my day, if you driving around in the car, especially in the summertime, and you go to an outside court, pretty much every outside court is either players playing up and down or shooting around. Like, the courts would be occupied. Now, today, if you look around, most of these outside courts are not being occupied. They're not going out there playing full court basketball. Now, you may credit that a little bit because they play more in the gyms, which is great, better for your knees and all that stuff. But as I look more and more, the courts are not as packed as they were back in my day. And to me, that says something. That says that they have more distractions today than they did before when I was playing. See, before, you would be like begging to go play basketball, you know, at the park, or go play basketball at the rec center, or go play basketball at the Boys and Girls Club. Just play. But now you got, you know, all this technology, video games, and all this stuff that they got, you know, TikTok, Twitch, and all that stuff, which is cool, but it's taken away from the culture of the game of actually going out there and playing, especially in the summertime. You know what I'm saying? Go and work out in the morning. If you're a real hooper, this is what you really would do in the summertime. Work out in the morning, right? Go home, eat, chill for a little bit. Go play in the afternoon around 12, 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You go, you leave there. If you want to, go eat, whatever. Come back to the gym, come back to the park, whatever. Play again later on and play till the lights go off or play till the rec closes. That's the life of a hooper when I was playing. But now, the life of a hooper now is how many Instagram followers could you get? How many highlight films could you get? How many, people can follow you on Instagram based off what you put out, the content. It's all about the clicks. It's all about the clout. It's no longer about the love of the game, in my opinion, because you would see more players on these courts going up and down, playing all day, and just being in love with the game. And that translates again to what we're seeing right now in the U.S., vice versa overseas. When I went overseas, bro, you could tell they don't have the type of things that we have over here, the type of luxuries we have. So they have no choice but to go play basketball. They have no choice but to go into basketball training. They have no choice to do Xbox because they don't really have the type of luxuries that we have over here. For the most part, there's some countries who do, but for the most part, a lot of them do not have luxuries like the U.S. All right, so y'all smash that like button as y'all come in here. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. She said, "That's real, BJ." Yep, that's real. When you look at a lot of these different parks and you look at outside in these courts and stuff like that. I went back to my hometown. I remember a couple of years ago, and they spoke about this, man. Like they talked about how the players. I mean, I was at the park, like, where's everybody at? Why ain't nobody hooping? And it's just like it's just a culture thing. I remember going back day in, day out. I'll go to the gym. I'll be like, damn, where's everybody at? Like we would be playing before, this gym used to be packed. Like you had to wait to get on the list. You have to sign your name on the list to play. But now it's like, you go in the morning time, the afternoon, the evening time. Gym might have 2 or 3 people in there. You might have, luckily, one game they're playing. Catch them on a Saturday morning. But it's definitely it's a difference of when it used to be, but nonetheless, those are 2 examples I wanted to talk about. Kobe Bryant speaking on the skill set and also the AAU scene being bad for basketball in the U.S. And then Will Barnes just talking about the culture has been lost for these younger players, that they don't go out there and play basketball throughout the summer like they used to, and I can attest to that. But let's get into something. Let's talk about this because, like I said, there was a big spill on social media yesterday talking about how USA basketball needs to be changed. It needs to be fixed. You need to send our best players. Let's send our best players over there. Let's send this guy. Send this guy. Let's send that guy. Right, of course, it's very, very, pride a lot when it comes to USA, because you're going up against different countries who are saying, like, they're going to obviously pop their chest because they like, oh, we beat the USA. That used to be a flex to beat the USA. It still kind of is, but I think it's becoming less and less more of a flex to beat a team like USA, because I'm pretty sure before it used to be a surprise when USA lost these games, but now it's becoming more and more of a norm that these other countries that are beating us. We just lost to, a team, Lithuania, right before the loss against Germany in the same tournament. This same tournament right here. And that's why I think it's a deeper issue. We can't keep saying that we got the best players and we're not saying the best talent. We can't say we have the best players and then when we lose, we say we didn't send our best talent. So either one of the things, you're either saying that it takes us getting the cream of the crop players to beat this team, which is showing you that these other teams are catching up on our heels, or you're just trying to make an excuse because you don't want to face that these other teams are getting better. These other countries are closing the gap. Right? It's either we got the best players or we got, other teams and countries catching up to us at a high, significant rate. So this picture right here was posted, blasted all through my Facebook feed, all through my Instagram feed yesterday, talking about, we need to send this group over to the States or to the World Cup next year, because 2024 is when the World Cup is, where the players, will be playing for the World Championship, the gold, the bronze, and the silver, all that stuff. I'm not sure where it's going to be at, but this is where, 2024 will be next season. So as y'all look at this, you guys see LeBron James in the middle with the blue jersey, of course. You see Jason Tatum and Jimmy Butler to the left and right of him. You see Kevin Durant and Devin Booker downward spiral to LeBron. You see on the bottom row, you see Kawhi Leonard on the left, 11, Damian Lillard number 6, Steph Curry number 5, Anthony Davis number 3. Okay? Now, these are all American players. Okay? To be able to play for the American team, you must have American citizenship, right? And the reason why I say that, because one player that they did not include in that picture was Joel Embiid, who is talking about getting his USA. Well, I think he already got his citizenship here, so he might be playing for the USA next season. But we're talking about right now. These are all USA bred players on this picture right here. Now, I want y'all to focus onto what people are saying. Just send over the best players and we'll get the job done. Now, people, there is something that needs to be said. The roster that we just sent over, right? We had guys like Brandon Ingram, we had Paolo Banchero, we had Tyrese Halliburton, we had Austin Reeves, we had Josh Hart, we had Jalen Brunson, we had Jaren Jackson, and then we had, of course, the guy that I love dearly, who I think is a great player, can be the best player in the NBA within the next 3 to 4 seasons, and that player is Mr. Anthony Edwards, the one, unfortunately has his head down, number 10. That was the team they sent over to the U.S. Now, if I was to name all those players in the NBA I just named, would y'all not say that they're either starters or up-and-coming stars in the NBA? They're either starters of their NBA teams or they're up-and-coming starters. Would you not say Brandon Ingram is an up-and-coming star? Would you not say Paolo Banchero is an up-and-coming star? Would you not say Tyrese Halliburton is an upcoming all-star? Would you not say Jaren Jackson was Defensive Player of the Year? Not so much of a star, but he is a very, very vital piece in the NBA. Would you not say Austin Reeves is a starter in the NBA? Would you not say Jalen Brunson, who had a magnificent playoff, was a borderline all-star in the NBA? So the point I'm getting to, these players that they brought in, when people say, well, we got to bring our cream of the crop players, pretty much outside of Josh Hart and maybe Austin Reeves, these guys are top 25, top 30 players in the league right now. And Paolo Banchero, I'm sorry, as well. These players are top guys as far as their position. They're top guys as far as what's coming up. And that's why we have to talk about something, because when I look at this list right here, the picture right here, a lot of these players right here are towards either their 30s or they're towards, the end of the hill. What do all these players have in common? LeBron James, 37, going on 38 years old, right? Jimmy Butler, 34, going on 35 years old. Kevin Durant, 34, going on 35 years old. Kawhi Leonard, who's 31, who's in his prime. He's like going on 32 years old. Damian Lillard going on at 33 years old. Steph Curry, 35 years old. Anthony Davis, 30 years old. So only two of these players are under 30, and that's Devin Booker and Jason Tatum. So my only thing is, if you're going to tell me we got to send this group over, just be careful what y'all talking about and what y'all asking for, because, again, these players are not spring chicken players anymore. Most of them are not. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, even though he's playing at a high level, these guys are in their mid to late 30s. Then you got Kawhi Leonard, Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis, who are, in their early 30s. You cannot continuously look at these players and try and say that they need to be playing in order for us to win a World Cup. We have to, at some point, focus on the guys who are under 30, who are the youth players, which is why I keep telling y'all that top 10 list on Bleacher Report was BS, because what it does is a couple things. First of all, it promotes the same players we've been promoting for the last 5 to 10 seasons and not focusing on the youth. And as well as that, it continuously puts a mindset that these players that we have, LeBron, Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis, that these guys are the cream of the crop, right? Steph Curry, even with him, yes, he's a top 5 player, but it's time for him to even be, promoting a guy like Trae Young. Each one of these players, to me, have a responsibility to promote the younger guys, promote the guys like the Trey Youngs, like the LaMelo Balls, like the Ja Morants, like the Zion Williamses, like the Bam Adebayos. You know what I'm saying? They have a service to promote these guys because they're going to be the future. That's what true OGs and leadership is. Given the mantle to the next generation. As y'all come in here, smash that like button as y'all come in here. Smash that like button as y'all come in here. It's the job of the OGs, and when I'm talking about the OGs, the LeBrons, the Kevin Durant's, the Jimmy Butlers, the Kawhi Leonards, the Steph Currys, the Anthony Davises to a degree, the Damian Lillard, it's their job to promote and actually teach the young bucks. Because if you don't teach the young bucks, how could you expect when you leave the game, how are you going to expect for them to be able to carry the mantle? Again, this is USA basketball, meaning it's bigger than you as individual players, about continuously growing the game. And that's what made Kobe Bryant so great. He was all about growing the game. Look at all the players that he taught, all the players that he trained. Jason Tatum, Devin Booker, Kawhi Leonard, you know what I'm saying, Kyrie Irving. He had that Kobe Bryant Academy in LA where he had I think over 15, 20 of the top guys learn the game of basketball and learn his, his philosophies and his techniques and things of that nature. That's what you call growing the game. He constantly spoke about growing the game of basketball. He talks about growing the youth players of basketball. That's what he does. That's what he wants to do. That's a person who truly cares about the development of the game. This is what this is about, development. It's about developing the players. Do we not have the best talent in the NBA? Yes, we do. But as far as the development of the game and actually growing the game, we have a serious issue. And to me, that's something that cannot be disputed. I'm going to go into my opinion why I feel like that. But the players right here, they playing a long season, and then you expect them to go overseas and get you guys a World Cup. Now that could happen. They can bring this team over here, and they can actually win. But at what cost? What expense? Breaking your body down. You're playing all year round. Like, again, these players out here, they need rest too. They're not robots. The reason why they didn't play in the FIBA games because they wanted to take, this is the only chance they really get a true rest. The only chance that LeBron and Jimmy Butler and Kawhi and Steph and KD and these guys only get a true rest because they understand the grind of the NBA seasons coming up, which is them winning an actual NBA championship. So the mindset was to send the younger players to, take over and actually represent and actually show what they can do. But if they can't take care of the teams overseas with this roster, which to me they have more talent, then that's saying a lot. That's showing me something. Y'all smash that like button. Y'all smash that like button. I don't bite it. A lot of the top players are on the decline. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm bringing up. A lot of the top players are on the decline. A lot of the top players, rightfully so, they're in their mid to late 30s. Or, they're early to, late 30s. That's what they're doing, man. It's no longer about them, being the face of the leagues, man. It's time for them to start passing the mantle off to the young guns, the younger bucks. There is a complete difference in, to me, how a lot of these players play today. The younger players like Luka Doncic and Ja Morant and LaMelo Ball and Trey Young and a lot of these players, you could tell the mindset's different. The playing style is different. The culture is different because these players grew up in the culture, to me, that Kobe Bryant was talking about. This AAU circuit, this, let's, make this into a showcase. Let's focus on one side of the ball, vice versa, both sides of the ball. This is the era that we're seeing right now in the NBA. That's being pushed down into the younger group and younger generation. Right? But I'm going to my last point. I'm going to let y'all in real soon. Again, notice that I just said that I'm not talking about the loss to USA while we're in a big flummox, or while we just lost, that's why we're in a big flummox. I'm talking about simply the game of basketball and development is going down in the U.S. and it's been doing it for quite some time. It's been going down for quite some time. He said we need a few of those guys to stay healthy now in trouble. Yeah, that's John Morant for the most part. But the issue is, shout out to my man Hearn for coming here as well. We got to get back to the fundamentals of the game. We got to get back to the culture of the game. We got to get back to actually respecting the game. I don't really truly think a lot of these players really respect the game, to be honest with you. I think a lot of them really just want to have the fame and want to be able to, say they play in the NBA. I'm going to be very honest about that. I think we're going into the culture, you used to just want to play all the time, play at the park, do this, that, and the other. And then getting the money and getting the fame and all that was an extra. But I think now it's about getting the fame and then playing basketball is the extra. I think a lot of players today, and they've talked about this before, a lot of players, salute my man the realist, a lot of people today talk about how players today do not care about actually the game of basketball. They care more about the fame and the glitz and the glamour of the game more so than actually playing the game of basketball. Like, why is all these courts around America not as being as filled as they once was, just about 10, 15 years ago? Now, I don't live in every city in America, but as far as my city, like where I grew up in, and I go back to my old neighborhood, in summertime, those courts are pretty much, they're not filled no more. They're empty. And I've heard the same thing about from different people. They say, yeah, we don't really see people. We drive around around these outside courts. They're not playing outside like that no more. Now, you say they might be playing in the gym. Well, I'm seeing more so a lot of, skill training and, these trainers teaching these kids things that they're not going to use in the game, which I think is another disservice. They're not actually teaching kids what they're going to use in the game. That's why when they play in actual real-life games, like I was watching the USA game, the players don't know how to do simple, basic things, like actually how to guard their man off the ball. They don't know how to actually move, like ball rotation, ball movement, how to move without the ball. Like, they don't know simple basketball technique because they're not being taught it at the young age. I saw Anthony Edwards get lost on an off-ball situation. Like, instead of using his peripheral vision to see his man, he got lost, and then the player of the opposing team passed him the ball, and Anthony Edwards just didn't know where he was at. These are the top players I've seen play after play, not paying attention, not knowing where to be on position on the court. And I truly believe, because these coaches at the AAU circuit that these top players are playing at, who are between the ages of 20 to 25 years old, are not being correctly taught how to play basketball. They have the most athleticism, yes. We have the most talent, yes. Do we not have a lot of skilled players, quote unquote? Yes. But we don't have coaches, to me, who truly care about teaching the game of basketball. And that's why I say, and I'm going to continuously say, that basketball overseas is moving forward and basketball in the States is moving backwards. Now, people may say, well, I don't think we're moving backwards. I just think the world is catching up to us. Well, if the world is catching up to us and we were so far ahead in 1992 and so far ahead in the early 2000s, we were so far ahead in the late 2000s, if you're telling me they're closing the gap, that means one direction has to go forward, the other one has to go back to close the gap. Or you're just staying where you're at and the other team is just catching up to you. Either way, it's a problem. Either way, you're going to have to deal with the reality that these overseas teams are no longer afraid of the U.S. And Steve Kerr told me this on our podcast. Shout out to Steve Kerr, who's coaching the USA team right now. These other teams ain't afraid no more. They're not scared of USA basketball. They're not scared of the name anymore, for a couple of reasons. Number one, because they know they're getting better and they're actually figuring out how to actually beat the USA teams, right? And they're also, there's no shock factor anymore. A lot of these top players, quote unquote, they're getting up in age. So who else are you going to bring over there to carry the mantle? You know what I'm saying? And when I look at these top players, some of these top players who are American, like the, John Morant's, like the Jason Tatum's, like the Trae Young's, like the LaMelo Ball's, like the Devin Booker's, you know what I'm saying? Like the, you know what I'm saying, Zion Williamsons, the guys who are under 25, under 30 years old. When I look at them, a lot of them are guard. They're not even they don't really have much size with those guys. A lot of these players are guards, which is right now what it is. It's a guard-heavy league in the NBA. It's no longer bigs and, you know what I'm saying, guys who are 7 feet tall. You know where a lot of the bigs are coming from? The Joel Embiid's, Nikola Jokic, the Giannis Antetokounmpos, Domantas Sabonis, DeAndre Aidens, Karl Anthony Towns. All those dudes played with their their ethnicity origin, where their country, where their parents, or where they were born at themselves. They're going over and playing it with those teams. So that's why you say, well, we got to get bigger. Well, hell, most of the bigs are overseas players. I mean, outside of Bam Adebayo and Jaren Jackson, there's not too many other bigs in the NBA who are American. Jonas Valanciunas, he's from Lithuania, the same team that just beat the USA. I'm watching that game. I'm seeing that we have literally no size, which this small ball, and I love Steph Curry, but it's been a double-edged sword with him. While he was able to make the game look fun and look, great with the shooting and, the Golden State Warriors, everybody ain't the Golden State Warriors. And that's when I say that you got to still have bigs in this game of basketball. Dominant bigs, because Lithuania, if you guys watched that Lithuania USA team, they played last week, they destroyed us on the boards and they destroyed us in the post and destroyed it with their IQ. They didn't do a bunch of fancy dribble moves. They simply just back down. Somebody tries to reach. Anthony Edwards trying to reach. Tyrese Halliburton trying to reach. You're not getting the ball. And that's basically all protecting the basketball is. You don't need to actually have all the little flashy little in and outs and, between the legs and the crossovers. You don't necessarily have to have all that in your arsenal. It's all optional. Right? So, it's a lot of stuff we got to clean up. Again, in the polls, make sure y'all vote. Is USA basketball going backwards? This is not about just USA losing to Germany or losing to Lithuania. I got to side with Kobe Bryant. I do not like the development of today's players. I think, again, that with overseas teams getting better facilities and getting better training, again, for a gap to close, one has to come forward, the other one has to come backwards. So when people say that the USA is not moving backwards, I don't understand how that could be when you're telling me in the same breath they're closing the gap. Unless one person is just coming and the other person standing still. And I don't see how that USA basketball cannot go and progress when we have the best facilities, we have the best athletes, we have the best players, period. We should be moving forward as well. We should be going forward as well. So, hey, maybe I'm crazy though. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm tripping. But I can just tell y'all from my experiences, there's benefits from playing overseas, bro. It really is. The culture, the coaching, they control the teams more so the players. Here in the States, it's a players league. It's about, what I want to do. It's about, how I choose to play. It's not about the team. A lot of stuff is not, if it's not just about dribbling a basketball, it's about also just you as a person, bro. Like, listening to direction, being disciplined, being obedient, bro. Like, a lot of stuff that overseas teams and values they teach that we don't really even, we skate over in America. You guys watch Kerr and Ty Lue and Eric Spoelstra coach. I didn't really see much of them really getting up and actually being fiery towards their team and, really letting their voices be heard. Now, of course, that may be because Steve Kerr's personality is more laid back, but I'm looking on the other side. Germany's coach got into Dennis Schroeder's face. He grabbed his arm and said, "You need to sit down." Now, of course, that didn't go well with Dennis Schroeder, but a lot of these teams, bro, like, they have discipline. Like, the coaches have a say-so on what's going on with the teams. There's order. So that way, the players respect authority. They respect, the honorary. They put team first, not individual play first. I mean, it's a flummox of things, bro. But like I said, you cannot continuously say, let's go ahead and just bring in our older guys. We have to bring in this flummox of players for us to win a gold medal. That means there's a problem. That means there's a problem with our development. and there's a problem with actually giving the younger guys more exposure. So I know I went on a long spill. We got over 22 people in here, man. We show over 22 likes. Smash that like button, please. Y'all hit that like button. Let me know in the comment section as well. As well as, you know, before we get started, I'm going to let people in. Please, please, please make sure y'all get y'all membership badges, man. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of great content, a lot of good, you know, things coming. I just got accepted to, you know, work for the LA Clippers. That will be starting September the 18th. I have orientation. There's a lot of great things we're going to be having, prizes that I'll be, you know, dropping now that I'm with the, you know, the Clippers. So if you guys want to be a part of that, make sure y'all get y'all membership badges. Y'all have 3 options to get: the pull-up badge, the Clipper badge, or the interview badge. I'll be having more and more guests coming on to the show. Yeah, just you know what I'm saying, you know, y'all want to tap in, y'all get y'all membership badges. Y'all need any help getting y'all badges, man, let me know in the comment section. But I'm gonna go ahead and like go into a short break, and then we're gonna get started and talk about, you know what I'm saying, get into this subject, and we're gonna get right into it. All right.
Salute, salute.
Well, salute to you, Herm. What's good, my brother? What you got on
What's
this
good? What's good?
what you got on this situation, man? Let me hear it.
In all honesty, Europeans always been there. A lot of cats don't know BJ 1988 had that Olympic team with Vladi and those Sabonis and those boys dominated USA then, and USA had to get to the point where we can't send college players anymore, and that's why it stopped. Because we used to send our college players, and unfortunately, because we wasn't as disciplined, you know, they dominated us in 1988, and we didn't win the gold medal. So that's why the dream teams came about. So the Europeans really catching up since the late 80s. Now, this is the problem. What's going on in today's league? It's so many undisciplined basketball players. A lot of guys with a lot of natural talent, natural abilities, but they do not have the IQ of the game. They are not students of the game. So you see a lot of guys lacking a lot of different areas. You be like, damn, Trey Young, we know he's talented, but he do a lot of dumb shit. His IQ is not that bright, so and he's not fundamentally sound. So that's why sometimes you see a lot of inconsistency with how good the Hawks is due to his inconsistency as being a disciplined player. And plus, a lot of guys been exposed. Austin Reed's not as good as y'all motherfuckers thought he was. Solid player. He's not as good as y'all thought. Tyrese Halliburton. That should be an eye opener for guys to realize he has not arrived. He has a lot of weaknesses in his game, and he's not very disciplined. And he lacks the fundamentals of the game. Anthony Edwards, now he's probably the only young guy that was on this team that got that dog in him, and he understands what it takes to win and what needs to be done to win, but he can't do it by himself. They lacked in size, they lacked in everything. So now let's look at the great talent that we have. Could Brandon Ingram, a guy, could have made a difference for the Team USA? I believe that. Zion Williamson, we know he's not going to play right now because his inability to even stay on the court in the league that he's playing for right now. So we might not see a Zion. Even though I think he'll probably play for the Olympics. John Morant, the reason why the Grizzlies have struggled in the playoffs is because he's undisciplined and he lacks certain fundamentals of the game. So you see a lot of inconsistencies of John Morant. LaMelo Ball, he has a complete game. He does have a high IQ. And we've seen the difference in when he's on and off the court for the Charlotte Hornets. When he's on the court, despite the lack of talent that they have, they compete night in and night out when he's playing at a high level. So and you got the Canadian team possibly can have probably one of the best backcourts in the whole goddamn Olympics. And when the Olympics start with Jamal Murray and Shea. Jamal Murray and Shea might be the best backcourt when the whole full team calendar comes together. And with our young players, I don't think we can match that. I don't think you can have Trey Young and Jaylen Brown. They're not better than no damn Jamal Murray and Shea. For as a backcourt, and then you sleeping on Andrew Wiggins might play for Team Canada.
Right.
They got to lock down the defender, and you got Dylan Brooks crazy ass.
Mhm.
So I mean, the world is catching up to us, y'all, and for us team, we just not disciplined. Jason Tatum even lack certain attributes that you need to be
Yeah.
great. We
Right.
just don't have that anymore, man. We became too spoiled, too entitled, and we look at on the outside looking in. We think that guys like LeBron and them they prima donnas and stuff, but in all actuality, LeBron always work and grind. So they looking on the outside, they really like, man, this is how we gotta be in carry out. But they not realizing a nigga like LeBron earned to fuck around and be a prima donna because of how hard he worked throughout the years and how hard he continues to work today. These
Right.
young guys not working like that, man. They are not putting in the work like that. And I hate that Kobe Bryant passed away because if Kobe was still alive, I think he'll be a positive influence on a lot of the guys out in the league today. And Team USA, this is what they're going to have to do. They may not want to do it. Kyrie Irving needs to be a part of that Team USA team because I
Yes.
think he'll bring
Yes.
that leadership and he's
Yes.
going to bring that discipline that they need. And they don't want to. I know they're not going to do it. I know he probably won't be on the Olympic team, but we need a guy like Kyrie Irving to lead the troops, and I know he could be a leader. Guys say he can't. That Kyrie could be a great leader, man. It's just that a lot of guys want to give him this label because he stood up for certain things that a lot of guys don't have the nuts to stand up for. But Kyrie Irving could be an excellent leader for Team USA, and he's going to bring that mentality Kobe Bryant brought to the Redeem team of '08. So, I mean, we got to do something. We can't rely on LeBron and Kevin Durant's of the world, even the Stephen Curry's of the world can't rely on them. You're not gonna be able to rely on
Mhm.
the Klay Thompson, the players' role, and all that guys like that probably would have filled out the team. We can't rely
Right.
on. We got to rely on young talent, and I agree with what you said. You do Steph Curry them do need to start working out with Trey Young. Work out with him every summer. Show him how to be a professional. Show him what he needs to do to become better and make his team better. Teach him some tricks that he ended up learning. Play more off ball more. You don't have to have the ball all the time.
Right.
So it's a lot of little things that if guys bring certain guys beside them, man, it can make a difference, man. But right now, it's just a shit show, man. And they catching up because the Europeans are more disciplined.
Mm.
They play with more fundamentals. They're more fundamentally sound, and that just had that just why they're catching up. We are not fundamentally.
Mm. No, that's all good points, sir. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you, brother. I gotta take this call right quick, but I'm still on though.
Okay, all right, you good. Shout out to my man Bubba, man. What's up, y'all? He has a YouTube page coming. Make sure y'all follow him. I'm gonna drop that, going into next week. You know what I'm saying? Philadelphia 76er fan, but also a great basketball mind. Um, I gotta piggyback off what Herm said because he said nothing but facts. This is a culture problem. This ain't just a basketball, it's a culture problem. He said the one thing again is discipline. A lot of these players now do not have the discipline that they once had, and I could see it based off of how these kids are growing up more, and they're the ones actually representing the league. Tyrese Halliburton, Paolo Banchero, you know what I'm saying? The young guys, they're part of this era, the young 20 and 23, 24-year-old guys. Very, very skilled and talented. They can do all the little drills, like as far as, what I'm saying, jelly and all the little, fancy movements. But when it comes to actual real grown men, high IQ basketball, you can see the difference of competition level of, competition that they have. And like I say before, there's no reason for us to have to go and get these guys who are in their 30s who have to play, all year round anyway as it is, if we cannot send our young guys, our young guns over here. And Herm said again, the only player that we've seen that actually has that, that dog and actually has that availability is Anthony Edwards. I can see it on the court. I can see it with his IQ. I can see it with his competitiveness. But like he said, he cannot do it by himself. We have to address the problem that USA basketball has been doing a disservice, and we have to catch up to actually being more worried about the development rather than just about our talent. Because talent wise, yeah, we the most talented, we the cream of the crop. But the development part is where I say, okay, well, how are we really developing players? The competition, level of competition, I believe has went down. I don't think, again, the love is how it used to be, like, about 10, 15 years ago, in my opinion. Players are not playing on these parks, they're not playing in the gyms as much, they're not playing throughout the whole entire summer. It's all about let's get the, the views and get the, hits, all the highlights on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. It's more about that when they're not actually spending enough time really grinding and loving the game. And that's just why I believe. Let's go into my man Mingo Justin, and then we're gonna go to my bro Rick. Y'all smash that like button. We got 23 people in here. We should have over 23 likes, man. Y'all smash that like button. Let's go to Mingo Justin. What's good, bro?
What's going on?
What's
Well,
happening, man?
well, see, the thing is, the whole team USA. First of all, these guys in this era didn't learn the fundamentals of the game. That's why you got such thing as position as basketball and all that kind of stuff. See, back in the 80s and 90s, and even the early 2000s, these guys learned the fundamentals of the game, which made them better basketball players in the end. See, the guys today, what I'm saying, everybody just want to shoot like Steph Curry. Everybody want to, I guess, quote unquote, play like LeBron. But no, but these guys don't really have the fundamentals of the game down. Hence, when they play a team that got fundamentals, like a Lithuania team like that, it's hard to beat these guys because they getting baskets the easy way while y'all struggling to get baskets. If you actually be watching the games. See, Anthony Edwards gonna be a good player, He's gonna be a good player. He's the up and coming player, And you got the other guys out there, but I mean, all the guys is like 1, 2, 3 year players, They not vets or nothing like that. Like most of the guys that was on Team USA was like 1, 2, 3 year players. They weren't like older guys. So they don't have that experience. But I just think if they actually worked on their craft, a lot of these guys that's in the NBA now, the younger guys, if they worked on their craft and actually worked on their game like a Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or some of these other guys actually work on their game, and you could tell if an NBA player is actually working on their game because it shows, and it shows them progressing as you see them playing the game of basketball as their career goes on. That's just like Kobe. First, Kobe was number 8 was the one with the afro was the high flyer, dunking on everybody, the crazy layups. And then when he returned to 24, he was the more finesse, shooting jumpers, fade away. Same thing with Jordan, even though Jordan was number 23, name number because he had 45 and 12 too. But Jordan, early in his career, he was ducking on everybody, same thing. Then he became a shooter, mid-range jumper, that type of player. See, these guys, you can tell these guys' careers don't progress as well because they don't work on their craft, and they be trying to be the same player early in their career, same as trying to be late on in their career, and it doesn't work because the athleticism ain't not there. That's why he struggles how he does. Because, you know what I'm saying, he tried to be the same player he was when he was younger, and that's not going to work, because you're an older player. That the athleticism is not there anymore. But anyway, regardless of that, Team USA just, I don't know. I knew this team wasn't going to win that anyway. When I saw this team and when I saw how they put it together, I was like, nah, they're not going to win anything, man. They're going to lose. I kept on saying that. They're going to lose, bro. But regardless of that, man, these guys just have to work on their craft, man. They got the advance in their game. They got to work on their fundamentals, and they got to get it together. And that's all I can tell you.
Minga, they also need an IQ. They lack a lot of IQ.
I mean, some of them got IQ, but they don't know how to use it. See, if you got IQ and don't know how to use it, it's still not. It's not worth anything.
But that's part of having IQ. Shit, if you got IQ, you know how to use it. So I mean,
yeah. Before I bring my boy Rick in, I got a text from an NBA player who I talked to yesterday. And he sent me, I was talking to him a little bit of chatting up with him, and I was telling him like the fundamentals of the league. I mean, this era has went down. And I said, in continuation, I said most definitely are from the sets they run and the quality of international players coming into the NBA under 30. Yeah. Giannis, Jokic, Embiid, Luka, SGA, Jamal Murray, DeMontis, Sabonis, etc. I just been seeing the trend of basketball, not just in the NBA, but all levels trending downwards because of lack of teaching the fundamentals. And then I asked him, am I wrong? And he said lack of fundamentals skills is a big issue. Right. This is a Hall of Famer that's telling me this. He's been seeing the downward spiral of fundamentals being taught to players. And he's a person that is very, very highly when he speaks about that. Like, there's a lot of players that just don't know how to play basketball, bro. And it sounds crazy to say because they're the quote unquote best players in the world. But I'm watching how they get lost on defense. I'm watching how they don't help on defense. I'm watching how some of them can't even go dribble with their left hand. Their footwork is some of them just don't. They have all the talent, all the athletic ability, all the ability and length and all that, but they just do not have the fundamentals. It's one of the craziest things when you're watching it. But I just wanted to put that out there. But let me put my boy Rick on. What's good, bro?
Panel, everybody in the panel, salute. How y'all doing?
What's good,
salute,
That's good. That's good, man. I've been coming back from this sinus infection, so man, I've been laying low and healing up. But just to touch on the topic, man, all y'all making great points. I really don't have rebuttals. The main thing I want to, dive more into it, which y'all kind of touched on, is there, there's no students of the game, man. There's no passion, right? And at the end of the day, and BJ, and you know what I mean when I say this, when I train with your younger brother, man, your little brother, what's crazy is because you made a statement earlier in the show where you said, where's the OGs? I mean, we out here, right? But we know our time. Right. We know when we need to hang up the laces. We know that we can't do certain things kind of like what Mingo and Herm is saying. It's like, yo, you get older, you not dunking no more, you know, because your brother always tell me, yo, BJ told me, Vic told me, you know, you guys used to be flying and running. I'm like, yeah, because we was your age. He said, but how are you still good? And my point of bringing that up is that for the OGs to even care, we got to see that you're a student first. We got to see that you have the same love of the game that we have. And I mention that because obviously, you know, like most of us out here, we work every day. We got kids, we got wives, we got stuff going on. But then when birds of a feather flock together type of spirit comes around, it don't matter how old you are. It feels like you've known each other your whole life. And so when I train your younger brother, the thing is, he got me activated again, right? Because he got me tapped back into what I used to feel when I was younger, even in an older body, because he wants to learn. He is a student. He has passion for the game. And I personally would feel like I would fail him if I don't give him the recipe and the fundamentals, right? So the biggest thing is that I notice a lot of the younger generation, man, and BJ and everybody on this panel can attest to this, is that, like BJ said, it don't matter if it was raining outside, if it was hot outside, if it was cold outside. All you had to do was get a rim that it could have been leaning a straight up with a basketball. It didn't even have to have no texture on it. And we would run games all day. We just had a love for the sport. And so when you don't have that passion, when you don't have that mentality, because it starts on the individual base, when you're not a student of the game, there's nothing I could do with you no way. Right? Because whatever I tell you, whatever somebody else tells you, whatever you get from anywhere, you're not going to imply it into your game because you don't care that much. Because let's just look at the game today. All you hear now is people getting in trouble, people making decisions that are not basketball oriented, you know, people out here worried about the bag more than winning a championship for their team. But BJ, like you said, when you go back in time, what did you always hear? You talk to Kobe, I'm just worried about putting another championship banner up in the arena. You talk to Jordan, I want to run with the same guys until somebody beats us. See, the mentality is different, right? It's like, in order to be the best, you have to beat the best. And everything was competition based. Everything was, I want to be the greatest. So the mentality was there. The love for the sport was there. All I hear now is, you know, I'm not making $20 million more. I don't feel like it. I'm just going to take off. So we already understand. And I believe it was Herm that touched on this. We understand that maybe because the NBA has gotten to a point to where, you know, now we got nice jets and now we got good facilities and AC, that maybe it made the players more comfortable. But even still, it starts with the individual. It starts with, you know, the player. And so I just noticed a difference in just the players, man. It's like they don't seem like they have the same drive, the same mentality as the olden years as some of the old players. And I'm going to tell you now, just like me and your brother, if I see a cat out there who really don't love the sport like that, I don't even waste my breath. But people like your brother, BJ, this dude asked me a million questions. I don't even be ready. He just asked me a million questions and I answer all of them. I tell him what to do. I tell him what to watch for. Because like Herm, it was either Herm or the other gentleman said, it's like, yo, I mean, I don't know, you know, I don't know you from a can of paint. But if I know that you have the skill and I know that you have the passion for the game, you see what I'm saying? I'm going to give you everything I got. I'm going to tell you everything I know. And then to watch your younger brother imply it is it makes me feel good. Right. And I just feel like, you know, I know there's players in the league right now who still go up to the OGs and still learn. But I'm just saying, as a general sense, you don't really see that no more. You hear Kobe talking all the time about how he went to all the players for mentorship and he stayed a student of the game his whole career. He always was willing to learn. I don't know that the mass majority of the NBA has that same mentality. And so to kind of case and point it and close it up, you know, when you think about the overseas teams, the foreign teams here, man, and we go play over here in these Olympics, these guys literally know the fundamentals, like everybody on the panel was saying. They know what a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward and center is. They know how to play the position. They know they have IQs. They know how to read the court. They know angles. They know how to play together. But see, over here in America, it's all about the bag. It's all about your style. It's all about how you look and how you smell. You ain't worried about winning no championship. So when you go against guys, because basketball is universal, I don't care where you're from. I don't play it with Asians. I don't play it with Hispanics. I don't play it with everybody. And people who love the game, it feels like you know each other your whole life. And at the end of the day, when you have a mentality of, I just want to be comfortable and I made it because I made it to the NBA and I don't need to, play hard. I don't care if you give me the same salary that I work at my job right now, you put me in the NBA, you're going to think I'm making 10 million because I have passion for it. I love the sport. And BJ, you said it perfectly. I don't think the respect for the game is really the same. And you could definitely see it in the behavior of some of these players. But at the end of the day, man, these foreign teams, man, in the Olympics, I'm going to tell you right now, you could tell they're like brothers. They're like family. You could tell they all love the game. And then when you watch American players play, their mind's not in the sport because they're always off, off camera, off doing something else instead of getting better at their craft. So at the end of the day, man, it doesn't surprise me that we getting spanked. It really doesn't. And it's going to keep happening until you get people like Anthony Edwards, like a whole group of those type of men who really got that dog in them and really want to play. Until you get players like that, we're going to consistently still get beat overseas, man. So that's all I got to say.
And see, that's why you my dog, because Rick always comes on time with when I'm not thinking something, he always comes in with thoughts I'm not thinking. He said a flummox of things that made sense. The one thing that caught my eye is, yeah, we can have all the luxuries and the jets and planes over here overseas that we didn't have, about 20, 25 years ago, NBA players didn't have. But it all comes to the individual, because look at a guy like Kobe. That dude had anything that you could ask for. He had private jets. His wealth is like over 600 million when he was alive. But his love and passion because of who he is as a person never left. And I'm going to say something else. For all you guys that keep saying, let's just get all of our top players, y'all do know in 2006 we lost in the World Cup games against Puerto Rico. We lost in 2004 against Argentina. And we had LeBron James, we had Allen Iverson, we had Stephon Marbury, we had Tim Duncan, we had Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade. On that 2016, we still lost. It wasn't until we picked up Kobe Bryant in 2008 and 2012 we actually was able to close the gap. So it's more than just us just beating the cream of the crop players and let's say go play. You have to have a certain mentality to be able to play in that type of game overseas. It's a totally different. You're playing up against players and teams that have been together since they were, yay high. You know what I mean? So Kobe being able to play overseas and growing up in Italy, he understands the culture, how to actually win over there. I really believe that a lot of U.S. American players do not understand there is some damn good talent and there's some damn good basketball players overseas that they're just overlooking and just disrespecting before they step on the court. So, Rick, you right. We don't keep getting our ass kicked until they actually get the right mentality to be able to, compete. Because, like I said, in order for a gap to close, one has to go backwards, the other one has to go forward. So when I say that USA basketball is moving backwards and people say they don't think it's moving backwards, they just think that the overseas game is just catching up, it's still a problem because according to everybody else, we've always been the cream of the crop. So if overseas is growing, don't you think that USA basketball should be growing too? That's why I say we got to be able to, address the true issue here. Let's go to my man Oaktown. What's good, bro?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, can y'all hear me good?
Yeah. You
Yeah,
good, bro?
yes, sir.
Cool,
Yes,
cool.
sir.
All right, so I only got a little bit of time. But what y'all was saying was pretty cool from what I could hear. Look, I'll just say it like this without trying to regurgitate too much of what I did here, because everybody's pretty much right. I think what you got to look at with basketball is that it was just a matter of time before the world caught up, just for the simple fact that the NBA is huge. So like the states makes things move. So it was only a matter of time before you started getting better players to come over here and play. And so then they go back home, and these people are playing for pride of their country too. Like we got to look at this. How many of these guys are playing for pride of the USA? Like it's just a different mentality. A lot of these guys are, the skill levels are different, and everything like that. But for the most part, I question how much pride these guys take in representing the US, because I think these other countries, they really want to beat us. They've been wanting to beat us. And the game is just growing so much. Like the game can only grow so much in the States because this is where it started. So these other countries have been watching and been exposed to NBA basketball. They want to come here. Their top guys want to come here and eventually play. Are our top guys really trying to go over there? If we're the cream of the crop of basketball, this is where it's at. Now, the game has regressed. We don't develop the big man like we should. It makes me sick to see 7-footers be taken away from their greatest strength because everybody want to shoot a damn three. Like we've made the big man irrelevant. Like there's something to be said about a guy who can just get a rebound, control the paint, contribute in ways in which you don't have to shoot a three or a jump shot. There's still value for the big man. I also think too is that celebrity is so big in Western culture here that we get too caught up in the celebrity of being a football player, a baseball player, a basketball player, or should I say a superstar, instead of just being a basketball player. It used to be something to be, being a baller was enough. I'm just a basketball player. I'm just a football player. But, with all the commercials, all the money, and it's a different generation now compared to when I was coming up. You got social media that adds a lot to it. These kids have a lot of distractions to keep them from just being basketball players. So some of this I don't fault them for, because it's just the nature of evolution of a sport that's grown. Like we just a victim of our own success, and it's harder here just for the simple fact that this is where it starts. So, a lot of these coaches do need to do a better job of developing these guys, but there is a mentality, man. You got to love the game of basketball. You got to want to just win. Like, look at these streams that you hear. It's hard for me to listen to some of this stuff because we don't value just winning a damn game no more. We want to sit up here and take away credit from how guys win. You didn't win this way, or you didn't carry this by yourself. The hell with that. Just go win a game. Just the way we talk about basketball now is way different than what I was remembering coming up. It was just about playing the game the right way and winning. If you were that dude, you were gonna show it. You didn't care about numbers, because if you was that great, you was gonna get your numbers anyway. But it's about winning a damn game. It too much. We get too fascinated by somebody having to be the best, to where it's almost like, well, where's the work being put in to even be that, to just be your best? Instead of worrying about being the GOAT, why don't you just be the best you can be? I just think our whole mentality when it comes to sports in general has changed so much. These other people from other countries, man, I don't think they get caught up into that. They just worried about being the best they can be and ultimately winning. And that's what you see with Giannis, you see with Jokic. They don't get caught up in the celebrity of the NBA. And something needs to be said about that. And there was a time where I don't believe a lot of the top American players care about that. Now, you could look at Steph, you could look at Kawhi, you could look at KD, you could look at LeBron. I still feel we have the cream of the crop when it comes to basketball players, right? But if we're just talking about as a whole, I just think the mentality of the United States in general, we just a victim to our own success. So like when you in the belly of the beast, you got all the distractions. You don't have that overseas, in my opinion. If I'm wrong, fine, let me know. But I mean, I think that's pretty much what it is, coming from a different type of angle. And I think it was bound to happen. And I think sometimes you need to get knocked on your ass to show, hey, you know what? If we want to get back to being the dominant force that we were, to where we don't have to send our best, maybe we need this to motivate us. Sometimes you need to get slapped upside your head to wake you up. So, and also too, I do want to say this because I didn't watch a lot of it, but listening to people talk, Steve Kerr, I'm hearing about how certain guys were being benched and didn't play. So you got that guy Walker Kessler, I believe, with Utah. And now he was a, NCAA leader in shot blocks, right, averaging about 4.5 a game at Auburn. But I'm hearing he didn't play much. I don't know why that is if you're a small team, but that's on the coach. Anthony Edwards, I heard, had got benched for a game or two. He's coming off the bench. He should have never been coming off the bench. If that's your hungriest, best player, he should have been an example, and you always have him out there. So that just, I think that it could have been a mismatch of players and coaching too, which you also got to look at. You got to have the right unit playing and coaching together. So I don't know. Y'all can speak more on that because I didn't really see that.
Mm. You got something to say about that, Ern? Okay.
I can add on to it. Oaktown, he spoke correct on that. A lot of guys don't have the motivation. They don't worry about winning the game. They worry about more of their brand now. And I think we this is something that none of us really touched on too. Like in each era, damn near, it was always big brothers that showed people how to be professionals, or show people how they could work on their games and become better and become dominant in the league and in the position. If they want to be the superstar, they want to be the best. This is how you go by doing it. And really, really, the last person that was really being big brothers, the guys in the league, was Kobe Bryant. I think Kobe took pride in that because Kobe understood what was going on with the state of basketball in the USA. So he wanted to spread knowledge to certain guys. He wanted to get them to have different mentalities because he understood what was going on internationally. I think we don't have that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Normally you'll see guys like ended Michael Jordan's career. He had Kobe Bryant. He was showing Kobe Bryant the way with phone conversations and things of that nature, or or certain things that Kobe could work on. Hey, well, I know what you're doing, but if you make this little adjustment right here, it was things like that going on. I don't see a Steph Curry knowing that a guy like a Trey Young. Maybe you could blame it on the young players too, but we should see guys like Steph Curry. I think if he was to be a big brother to Trey Young, you can see a hell of a difference in Trey Young's game. You go see a hell of a difference if he start being around Steph, learning from Steph, learning Steph's IQ of the game, of what he could do to become better, make his teammates better. But all the talent Atlanta got, imagine that Trey Young start playing with the IQ of Steph Curry. Imagine that Trey Young understands that, man, I can play more off ball. I got another guard like Javante Murray. If I could start moving off ball like Steph Curry, imagine what that would do for the Atlanta Hawks. They would be a goddamn contender. Then they might come out the Eastern Conference. If he make those little adjustments, if he willing to learn for Steph, if he willing to be a little brother to Steph. We don't have that. So certain guys that can teach guys the way and show them the way, we don't have that right now. Like Anthony Edwards, he understands the game because he's the son of a coach. So he got his knowledge of the game. He understands the history of the game. So you go see him have that dog, and you go see him willing to do anything to win the game. So he understands it. We just need more guys like Anthony Edwards that has that same mentality. But Anthony Edwards just had the luxury of being the son of a coach, and his mom could ball too. You know what I'm saying? So he's one of the guys that got lucky. But guys have a saying Tyrese Halliburton arrived. He got to work on this game, man. He got to work on this game. Forget the natural skill. You can get away with certain shit in the NBA, but when you play international rules, your weaknesses go show. Your flaws go show. And that's what's going on with all these guys. Austin Reeves, you got to become tougher. If the Lakers so-called want to compete for a title, you got to become tougher, kid. You got to become tougher. There's levels to this shit. And like Oaktown, I want your opinion on this. What backcourt we could come up with that would be better than a Jamal Murray and SGA? What backcourt we gonna come up with that's better than them two? That are dogs like them two, right now. How in the hell we could
Well,
compete with that unless begging for a Steph Curry to play for the Olympics?
um, Well, first, Toast is getting at you about that Steph and Trey Young thing, but I'll let you read that from Toast. But you know what, Herm, man, it's like I like Anthony Edwards a lot. Out of all the young guys moving forward, he's my favorite because he remind me of them guys back in the day. Like he wants to win. Like, yeah, he'll shoot up a lot of shots. Look, man, he's a hell of a player. He should. But what I see with Anthony Edwards is that he's a competitor. He's one guy that I say that you can build towards. He don't have the experience yet though, and you just got to learn that. Who else you can get? I mean, what point guard out there do you trust? I would say John Morant. Hey, look, Herm, look, we've gone at about Memphis and Warriors because those are our teams, but I got a lot of respect for John Morant. To me, John Morant is that next superstar. I like him more than Tatum. I like him more than Trey Young. John Morant could have the NBA in the palm of his of his hands, excuse me, if
He
he
got to
get it.
get
Yeah,
focused.
yeah,
He got to get
exactly.
focused though,
That dude
and he got to
got
work
what
on
you want.
some fundamentals of his game
Yes,
as well.
the dude is a superstar. He's already a winner early in his career. I don't think he cares about his stats. He's just good enough to pile them up. Um, that dude showed me a lot, but he's got to grow up, and that's the problem. Once again, the celebrity shit, the stuff that don't have nothing to do with making you better as a basketball player. Imagine MJ back in the day being caught up with that kind of stuff, man. It's like, come on, dude. You ain't got to prove nothing. You in the NBA. Leave that BS alone. But I would say John Morant and Anthony Edwards, they're athletic, they have skill, they're competitors, they're fearless. So I have confidence that you put them up against anybody. That backcourt is going to believe they can terrorize everybody they go up against. They will not be intimidated. But the mentality of John Morant, I believe, got to change as far as, the off court stuff. And, he's young, but at the same time, it's a lot of young people that don't get caught up in that. So that can't be that much of an excuse. But that's
I
the first
know,
thing I think of. What's that?
I, I know we got to bring a veteran like a Kyrie Irving to Team USA. I know a lot of guys not gonna love it, but Kyrie Irving he actually has the mentality as well. He just been
True.
misunderstood his whole damn career, and people don't realize how special of a talent, how great of a player he is. And guys, where the guys don't want, Dallas Mavericks gonna be one of the top teams in the NBA this year. They underhand, they gonna surprise a lot of people this year. Luka and
Uh,
Kyrie, they gonna come with it, man.
I
Yeah.
think the problem with Kyrie though is that he might be understood to some extent, but he brings a lot of that on himself too. I think Kyrie's biggest problem is that he almost come off as a HNIC, but he ain't. It's like Kyrie is almost too smart for his own good sometimes, in my opinion. I think some
He
stuff
overthinks. He
yeah,
overthinks.
he overthinks. It's like it ain't that complicated, really. But I understand where he's coming from. But I also know that, you know what, you in a game that you don't control, and you need to play the game the right way so you can win. And sometimes you don't need to let people know what you're thinking because you don't run the arena that you playing in. If you understand what I'm saying, you got to pick your
Yeah.
spots.
I'm finna
Battle.
finally respond to Toast the Ghost. I'm not saying that Steph hasn't done his due diligence. I think to a certain extent, Trey Young probably got a lot to do with the fact that yes, because you work out with somebody doesn't mean that you really learning or really taking in everything that player is trying to show you, trying to get you to buy into. So I don't think he's fully bought into anything that Steph probably try to show him or try to get him to understand. Because if he did, you would saw a whole lot of difference in this game. Because Steph Curry never played the way Trey Young plays.
Mhm.
I never seen Steph Curry play that way his whole career. Steph Curry never played the way Trey Young is playing. So obviously Trey Young wants to do it his way. Obviously he thinks his way is gonna be the best way possible for right now. I'm just saying that we really don't see who LeBron mentoring in the NBA.
Yeah.
We don't
See,
see we don't see our top guys mentoring anybody. Who LeBron is mentoring in the NBA that he go pass the torch to.
and see
'Cause
what I want. Oh
yeah,
no, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I just wanted to ask you and BJ, because you brought up a good point with that. Do you think this whole legacy talk and go talk has ruined the game to the point to where the older guys are worried about their brand to the point to where they almost don't want to be passed up by the younger generation? Because once again, this is with the celebrity, and the media got a lot to do with this too, because I don't remember goat talk being this dysfunctional when it came to basketball. I think too much is being made about being the GOAT to the point to where it's almost like you making guys insecure about their place in the game when it's already secure. And maybe that could be a part of it. What do y'all think about that? Hello? Anybody hear me?
No
Yeah,
color. Yeah,
my
yeah,
fault.
BJ.
My fault. The GOAT discussion, I mean, I wouldn't say it has a big impact because a lot of the players who are playing over there are not even nowhere near that discussion. I mean, I just think the biggest thing we just got to focus on, man. I just think a lot of it has to do with, and you brought up a good point, Oaktown. You said about Anthony Edwards. The mentality of a player and a person is who they are, when they're brought up. A lot of the players, like now you see him, and this is what I'm going by. And I'm gonna ask you a question too. You was born, I'm pretty sure, you were born in the 70s, right? 70s.
Yeah, 76.
Okay, so if summers we be playing at the park, we be playing, at the gyms, we be playing at whatever. I'm a 90s baby. So do you believe though that where's the loss to the love of the game? Where do you think that happened? Or do you think that these players do not have the same passion they once did? Because I used to think, like even now, players I don't really see people playing outside like they
Yeah.
used to.
Um, I'm gonna be honest, and I'm one of the older cats that I push back on some of the stuff that a lot of us older people say, only because I see it go in cycles. Because I just think life is. I don't think life is quite as simplistic or complicated as people make it out to be. I think it's what you think of it. Um, I don't really see these youngsters playing at the park, maybe to the degree, but then again, I don't have kids, so I can't say that for sure what they do. I'll just tell you this. I think it started little by little in the 90s, actually. And a lot of people in my generation won't necessarily admit this, but when Jordan blew up, the Be Like Mike commercials had everybody wanting to dunk. And they were talking about the mid range jumper in the 90s becoming a lost art. If you remember Harold Miner from USC, Baby Jordan, they was hyping him as the next Jordan. But all that man really could do was dunk. He didn't have a jump shot. You saw that coming out of USC. He was athletic as hell and he had a bald head. About the only thing that he had in common with Michael Jordan. I mean, Kobe Bryant had fundamentals early. You could see it. It was just a matter of him getting the time to play and grow as he did. But I think the whole Be Like Mike campaign, this is why I said earlier, it's just becoming a victim of your own success. The NBA blew up and it became about marketing. And when you market a guy like Michael Jordan, this all world athlete personality, he had the total package. And this is what I'm talking about with the GOAT discussion, is that Michael Jordan has been the biggest thing and the worst thing to happen in the NBA, and it's not his fault. But we put so much on everything having to be perfect as if he was perfect. He wasn't. But his record in the finals, the way he played the game fundamentally, the fact that he was fun to watch, he carried the league. Like, I think it's just too much put off on him to the point to where we got to compare everything to him. And so that's where I think it started in the 90s. It started changing. They moved the 3-point line in to help scoring in what, 96. and they started shooting a lot of threes. And Reggie Miller didn't like it because he said you would have centers start shooting the three ball. And he was right. 3-point shooting went up when they moved it into 22 feet. Then they moved it back. So little by little, it happened. Nothing happens overnight. It's over time. But I just think that, with the NBA being as big as it is, and the AAU circuit got bigger, kids coming out of high school, it became a job. And I think that's a problem now. I think these kids do love basketball because it's a way to make money. I mean, think about this. Would you rather get paid 60 grand a year to play basketball or to work on the construction side or whatever? Most people tell you, well, hell, I'd rather play basketball. At least it's fun. You gotta love working in construction, whatever trade you picked up, whether you're an electrician, a carpenter, whatever, right? To really do that for 60,000 over playing basketball. It's like you do what you love, regardless of how much you make. But the fact that you can make so much money playing basketball, the fact that there's celebrity involved, it's ingrained in our culture. Sports is big business. So therefore, you know what? If I can go play a sport and make money, hell, if I got to take my game overseas to get my money up coming back to the States, I'll do it. So once again, it's a part of our culture. It's now a job. So you work it like a job. So these kids will train their butts off to make it. But once again, it's more like a job than a game that you love. It's just a different mentality. And I think we got to look at it that way. It's different coming up. You play ball. I remember, like, you play basketball, you play football, you play baseball, you run track, you did some of everything. And coaches back in the day, they liked you playing different sports because they, number one, can help keep you in shape. Number two, it was also exposing other parts of your athleticism because each sport is different, so you can develop some different skills, and it was a good carryover into other sports. Maybe I look at, like, um playing baseball and playing football. If you were an outfielder, playing cornerback and outfielder is kind of similar. You're backpedaling and following the ball. There's certain routes that you take. It's just there's similarities that can carry over and transfer to other sports. So it's cool. But it's like now, I don't know how many kids even play multiple sports. It's like they pick one thing and then they stick to that like it's a job. So I just think the mentality is changing because the NBA just got too big. It's like, why wouldn't you want to be in the NBA? I don't have to work on a construction site. I don't have to do this. I'm gonna take my chances at 19 years old. I'll play in the G League. I don't need to go to college. I'd rather make money, even if, let's say, I'm getting paid. I don't know what they make. I'm just throwing the number out. If I get paid 50,000 for a couple years just to work on my basketball game, playing in some lower level league, I'd rather do that than to work at a warehouse. So I just think the mentality is different, and it started changing with the promotion of Jordan in the 90s, but it trickled over in so many different ways. I just don't think it's one isolated uh, issue or incident we can point to, but I think it started with just the NBA blowing up with Jordan in the 90s.
Mm, yeah, I mean, that's a good point too. I mean, and see, and I know you Warriors all day, Oaktown. So I'm a definitely be light with it, but I think a lot of another situation too is I think people with the small ball era, the same thing we talking about, because I think the big man is definitely something we've been going away from. And it wasn't probably, it started to me before Steph and Clay too. Like, we do not utilize big men enough. Like, we do not use the big
Yeah,
men used to be the most important position, like in the 2000s and early before that. But now they just obsolete, man. Like, there's no such thing as really a center anymore.
no,
They stretch bigs. They call them stretch bigs now. So that's another issue. But then again, if you look through the whole NBA, Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, DeMontis Sabonis, DeAndre Ayton, Karl Anthony Towns, they all playing for their home teams. Those are the best centers in the league. So
yeah,
when I say when Kurtz, yeah, he he's big on the small ball and he doesn't utilize his bigs enough. But then again, I'm looking at, well, damn, how many bigs does he really have to choose from?
Yeah,
I mean, Bam Adebayo, Jaren Jackson ain't really even considered bigs. So who does he really have to really even choose from in the pool?
yeah. Yeah, it's different. Oh yeah, Pagan. I know what you're saying. Yeah, 60 grand probably for somewhere. You get what I'm saying, Pagan.
yeah,
I know. I
yeah,
thought about that too,
yeah,
Pagan. I mean, it depends on your skill level, but yeah, you know what I mean, though, Pagan. But
for
I
real.
mean, like, um, I mean, what's funny, BJ, is that you had a stretch big like Sam Perkins back in the day. 7 feet, shot threes. He played with the Lakers. He played with the Sonics. I mean, he played with like 7 or 8 teams, I think. But you had Manute Bol, who when he did shoot some threes, it was something to see. Guy like that size, but I don't know why they came up with this fascination to have everybody, including the center, have to shoot a three. And it's funny because there I don't know if you're familiar with Greg Papa. He's a local sports broadcaster up here in the Bay Area. He covered the A's, he did the Giants, he did the Niners, right? I think he's doing the Niners now. He used to call the Raider games and so on. But anyway, I remember when we were going on our run in 2015 and 16. And everybody was starting to look at Steph and Clay as this great shooting backcourt with the three ball. And I remember him saying that there was a time where he thought that the game would move towards all five guys on the court shooting the three. And I thought that would be dumb as hell. Why would you have your 7 footer doing that if you had one? And little did I know he was seeing into the future end up happening. Um, I will never understand why we don't value post play. Like, to me, some of the most beautiful basketball you'll see is big men going to work in the post, having to use footwork, timing, using both hands. One of the things that I love about watching Jokic play, this man is highly efficient in the post without dunking the ball. I can't even remember the last time I even saw Jokic dunk, but the man has got a soft, feathery touch. He's able to use both hands, both sides of the rim, backboard. Um, he's just very skilled. He's patient. Um, is some of the best basketball I see play, and the man doesn't have to rely on dunking. Even though he can step out and shoot from the mid and three. Just watching him play in the post, I mean, it's cool. It's like Akeem Olajuwon, Kevin McHale, Charles Barkley. He don't get enough credit for the post play he had as a smaller power forward, who was listed at what, 6'6", but they say he was really like 6'4.5". Um, I don't understand why that's not valued as much. I think it would bring balance to the game, especially when you look at the floor being spread out. Having some guys really take advantage of that. You're talking about one-on-one matchups with a skilled big man, and you got 3 or 4 guys spread out. It's even more room for him to operate, as opposed to back in the day when the lanes were more clogged. So I don't know, BJ, man. It's just things goes in cycles. We could point out things in the NFL. Baseball has its issues with some of the things they do now compared to how they used to play. I just think that with anything, you do something long enough, you figure out new ways to tweak something and to revolutionize what's been going on. So I just think that we're a victim of our own times too, man. It's You can only play that brand of basketball so long before somebody came up with new ideas to take the game in a different direction. So sometimes we probably just overthinking it. But the big man, I do believe, will come back though. I believe eventually come back. That's one good thing about Denver winning, is that it might put more emphasis now on having bigger guys who can play in the post, pass out of the post, and get back to some of those basic fundamentals and not be too perimeter oriented.
No, I hear that. I hear that. I I think the big man would come back too, but um, I just think that, I just don't know why we've gotten away from it, man. Like, I was always taught when I was playing, like, you always feed your big man. You
Yeah.
always make the big man happy because he's gonna run the floor, he's gonna block shots, he's gonna be that fierce interior presence that's gonna make everything easier around. But when you shut him out, when you ice him out, you don't let him touch the ball, feel the ball, you not involve them into the offense. From every time I was playing and our big man wasn't happy, bro, like that just messed up the whole aura of the team. It messed
Yeah.
up everything on the team.
Yeah, them rebounds wasn't coming as easy no more, huh?
Hell no, man. And they looking right at you too, like, oh yeah, you come do this. It's not that easy, ain't it? I ain't trying to be doing all that stuff. I gotta, the point guard gotta do all this other stuff. You gotta set up the offense, play defense on the perimeter, pressure the ball. I ain't got. I want my big man to be happy at all times because he gonna make my job easier.
Well, you know what, BJ, and it's funny too because it's not even about the big man always having to shoot. It's just letting him touch the ball and feel like he a part of the team. That you asking a lot for a guy to be a screen setter, box out, get beat up, take elbows in the back, have people jump over his back trying to grab a rebound, go block some shots, make up for your mistake, getting beat off the dribble, coming into the paint. I mean, it's a lot of dirty work that the big man has to do. And then to ignore him on offense and not even let him touch the ball, yeah, you're not going to want to go do all that. It's like an offensive lineman not being given credit for all the rushing yards and passing yards that the quarterback and the running back is able to accumulate when you out there getting beat up, you know, um, taking punishment from the defensive line, having to pick up linebackers, blitzing late. I mean, it's just like the big man being devalued, I think takes away what makes basketball, in my opinion, the prettiest sport. And baseball was my favorite sport growing up, but basketball to me is the most aesthetically pleasing sport because you see all these different size athletes get up and down the court. It's nonstop action. Everything that goes into it. If you play basketball, and you just know how tiring it could be. Um, you got to give these guys respect. They're probably the best athletes out of all the team sports. Not saying football don't have it all, but when you look at what you asking basketball players to do just nonstop, it take a lot out, you know. And I just think that for whatever reason, we've gotten away from what made basketball really special because at the end of the day, it is a big man sport, and the vast majority of the best players in the history of the NBA have been what bigger players, not all 7 feet, but it's a reason why you don't have a bunch of guys 6'2", 6'3" in the top 10 or 15 all time. There's a reason for it, and it's not no fault of their own, but it's a big, taller man sport, I should say. So. I don't know, BJ, man. It's just a different mentality now.
Yeah, I just and as again, y'all come in here, man, hit that like button, hit the share, hit the subscribe. If y'all want to come in here and say y'all thoughts, I just hit up Elysia see if he wanted to come on.
But yeah, yeah,
I know
you
he
know,
would
got
he
something to
would
say.
he would love to get on this topic, bro. Because I mean, it, and something else I noticed too. I noticed with overseas ball when you playing when I was playing over there, the coaches they control the atmosphere. Over here in the States, it's the players.
Yeah.
So just before we even touch the court, it's just the discipline,
Hmm.
the order is set in place, and then the players follow. It's a respect, it's a seriousness that comes with it, and it is definitely a pride that comes with it too. Like you said, like these countries definitely want to beat us, but i- if we want to get things back on track, we gotta go back and actually go back to the drawing board because I don't see these overseas teams now that they got confidence that they can beat us
Hmm.
convincingly. It's no longer like a big celebration.
Yep.
they looking at like, okay, well, yeah, you only got about two, probably one more Olympics for LeBron and KD and Steph and all these other dudes. But then what you got after that? Who's gonna come in after? Who gonna
That's
come in
true.
after to carry the torch? And that's what I'm looking at.
Would you say, with your experience being overseas, that culturally, which the way the countries are, whatever countries you've been to, because this is something that I just wonder in general, like American life versus foreign life, you know, our standards versus theirs. Would you believe the reason why coaches still have control over theirs, that maybe because the way they live is still kind of more disciplined, whereas America, America in the States, you can pretty much do what the fuck you want, right? Like I feel like there's a lot of things we can get away with without real true consequences. So you don't really have to respect authority like how you should. Do you think that plays a part in the why coaches have control, just because it's just the nature of how they live versus what we do over here?
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
think that's relevant.
yeah. It's something where, and that's why I said it's an ongoing discussion, man. I wish I had like, I mean, we can talk all day about this, but
Yeah.
it's more than just basketball. Like people think because we lost to Germany and Lithuania, that's just why making this video. It's bigger than that. It's a culture that we're moving away from. That if we're not careful, then it can really implode when we go to these FIBA World Games. Like, yeah, I was in playing in Vietnam, and you got two different classes. You got the rich class, and then you got the poor class. There's no middle class, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I'm living, pretty wealthy, living good over there. But then I get a chance to, what I'm saying, walk past a person, maybe making 25, 50 cents to a dollar every day. Um, the poverty, all that. But the thing about it, like when I was overseas and vice versa here, there's more of an appreciation for just simple, basic life over there, and just the simple. It's all about opportunities.
Yeah.
And if they was to come over here, and that's why a lot of them players come over here and they just treat it like it's life or death because they've seen the worst of the worst. Meanwhile, you got this other player over here who's, been spoiled in the States, or somebody who's been, given access to so many different things. Yeah, while we say it's good to have a great life, it can also, if you're not taught the correct values, then it can be your own worst enemy. And that's what coaches, and even when I'm pretty sure at your time, coaches, they were more than just a coach. They were actually father figures.
Right.
They were teachers. They were, disciplinarians. They were all that. They were able to, cuss you out or shout at you or whatever, and the parents wouldn't budge an eye to it. You don't talk back to your coach. You don't disrespect your coach. Like from what I'm seeing with these kids now, bro, they're you see more than ever, like more kids just always, mouthing back, or a coach gotta tell you two, three different times to get it right. I saw a video of Marshawn Lynch. I don't know if you saw this, but he was at a camp, and
Okay.
his mother, I guess, got upset with him because Marshawn Lynch told, "Yeah, if you ain't gonna work hard, get off the field." And the mother just didn't know how to handle it. She, her and Marshawn got into it. He was
Right.
very calm, but he told her, like, look, lady, like, I got this amount of kids here. And if you don't want to work, if you don't want to do push-ups, you don't want to do the extra work, then he cannot be playing on my field. And that's how they would talk to you back in the 80s, 90s, 70s, 60s. Like they would actually talk to you simply like that. But I just don't think they have that. So it's just starting off with that. Yeah, overseas, they still have that type of mindset for the most part. And it trickles down to the player's mindset. They're not going to give up on, the last second play. They're going to move the ball. They're going to share the ball. They're
Yeah.
going to do what the coach tells them to do. So yeah, that's where it starts at, man. And it's just not with basketball, but it's just with life in general.
Yeah. And it's funny, BJ, because when you say that, it kind of makes me believe even more that, like, just this damn celebrity, man. Our culture here in the States is so caught up in celebrity, and I question why we do some of the things that we do, right? Like, is it for the love and passion? Like, of course you want to make money and all that, no doubt. But I question whether we do a lot of things because we truly love it, or is it just an opportunity to not have to grind? Because if you remember, like your parents and all that, everybody got dreams and things they want to accomplish, but you weren't scared of grinding and working two jobs and doing hard blue collar work. Like, you do what you had to do while you tried to do what you wanted to do, right? And it seems to me that that whole grind, that grinding mentality is gone. Even with the coaching, I think some of these coaches, the celebrity of coaching. Yeah, I got this top young guy and I sent him to this university. He was a part of my program. Like, it's a part of everything, and why the fundamentals and things aren't being taught right. Like, I don't think it's just on the players, as you pointed out, the coaches too. Like, if the coaches aren't coaching these kids the proper way, you have to question, why are you getting into coaching? Why aren't you trying to be more than just a coach? Do you look at some of these kids as a meal ticket for you to move up? Um, everybody's got something to gain. And this is part of the problem when a sport blows up the way that it does. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, you're in the belly of the beast here. Everybody wants to come here because this is where it's at. Okay. So, like, you come here spoiled, or you're here spoiled, and you see what's going on and what it takes to move up. Now, how many people are actually in it for the right reasons? I question some of these coaches. And then, like, with the way we live here in America, yeah, we are spoiled compared to other countries. If you're an underdeveloped nation, yeah, there are certain things that you have to go through. But even still, man, you coming from underprivileged neighborhoods here. I mean, I'm not going to disregard that. A lot of these guys come from situations that are abhorrent. Not all these guys have a silver spoon in their mouth. Some of them are only able to get by because they were good at a sport, and that carried them through. But I just think that it's a it's a complicated issue. That's just not one thing, but sometimes you can get too big, and this is kind of what happens. So this is a wake up
Yeah,
call.
yeah, it's definitely a wake up call. And I want to piggyback off the celebrity. Yeah, the the Instagram, the TikTok, the YouTube. Um, it's kind of like what John Moran got caught up in the whole, celebrity famous life, and he couldn't really control it. He needed to be knocked down. I ain't heard nothing about Ja all summer, which has been good. It sounds like he's getting his head back on straight. Some people need that. They need that kick in the ass just to, get right. Some people don't need that. Either way, as long as you get the message and, message
Yeah.
delivered. But celebrity wise, um, that could hurt it if you don't know how to actually use it correctly. And I think if you look throughout the whole league, man, I mean, how many of the guys really have grown up in humble beginnings, like the top guys? I'm gonna say this too.
Yeah.
You look through like the 2000s, like that's the era I was, playing and watching basketball. When I started watching, um, Allen Iverson, Stephon Marbury, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James. A lot of these cats grew up in the inner cities, the top dudes, and you saw in their grind. You could tell a dude who grew up with nothing and had to earn with a guy who had everything or had close to everything and didn't really have to work. It's just human nature. If you never had to really want for much, it's hard to have that same drive because you already know the backup plan that's right behind you. Okay, well, I don't make it to the NBA. I can work for the family business, or I can, I got this amount of money left in the bank. Vice versa, a kid who his only option is basketball to get out of the situation he's in, it's almost a fear that if I don't work, if I miss a day, that somebody's gonna catch up to me.
Yeah.
So it's a that can be something too, where the mentality, because a lot of the top guys now, had more, the ability to play in gyms, vice versa, the black top, or because they didn't have to, deal with the struggles of, early life. They look at, this is just, they don't look at this as a passion. They don't look at it as something that I got to do at night. They look at it just like I'm just clocking in, clocking out. That's what they might be
Yeah,
looking
it's a
at too.
job. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a job, not like for the love of the game. It's just a job. I'd rather do that than a normal job.
yeah, man.
I mean, it's sad, man, because it's like at the end of the day, it is just a game. Like I question because this is one of the reasons why I like Yosha and his other streams that I like too. But one of the reasons I really like this show, I'm glad I got to come on finally on a weekend show, is that you guys really just talk about all the nuances of the game too. It's not just a game, but um, there's so much that goes in to playing sports, man, that you got to do just to make it, to get a look, right? But it should be fun because you got to work hard to be good at it, no doubt. But you still want to have fun, and it's like just the way they talk about basketball on these streams, it's almost like, God damn, man, do y'all even like the sport? I mean, I hear
Right.
people talk about basketball. It's like, do y'all even like
Yeah,
it? It's like
yeah,
every time I hear
yeah,
people talk, hating on
yeah.
somebody, talk about what it's like, what do you like about basketball? It's like
Right,
at the end of the
right.
day, it's just a game, man. It's supposed to be fun. Like you talk about going on blacktop, man, you couldn't wait to come home.
Mm,
So,
mm,
like, you couldn't wait for the weekend to show up, man. Friday night, you ain't got to worry about waking up to go to school early in the morning. Man, we playing basketball from damn 5 o'clock to 8, 9. Ain't no lights or nothing like that. Mama's
mm-hmm.
calling you, man, whoop your ass if you don't hurry up and get in the house, and we gonna do this right back first thing in the morning, Saturday, all day. It's
Right.
like it's fun, man. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just a damn game, but it becomes so complicated to where it's like it feel like a job. Sometimes it feel like a job to come on here and to talk about the sport. So if I feel that way, and I'm pretty sure some people who, not everybody, but for those people who do come and talk and feel like that, I'm sure some of these players feel like that. Like at some point in time, you just got to enjoy playing basketball too. Like it's not that complicated.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing though. A lot of them don't enjoy it. Like they just look at it just. I'm gonna be real. They look at it just they want to get paid, man. They want like look how players talk now. Look how they, and for me, it's nothing wrong with getting paid. It's nothing wrong with getting your money. But and this goes to the NBA contract too. Like it's so easy for you just to jump out of a contract and just go and try to get. You ain't even honored your first contract, but you want to get a second one. See, when David Stern was commissioner, they weren't doing that. You had to honor what you signed up for, and then you come off and you can actually do what you want and get your second contract, negotiate. But another thing about overseas players too, and this goes back just to morality and values. Like you honor what you say, you gonna honor with your word. Like now, a contract should really, to be honest with you, if you're an honest, like a morality person, there's no need to really sign anything. But we do it because it's just so much corruption and crookedness, especially in the States. You have to get it, documented. If somebody doesn't honor what they say, you can take them to court or whatever. But overseas, man, like a lot of times, just a simple handshake and just a man saying it to another man, hey, I'm gonna honor what I say, is enough. But here, that you look at somebody crazy, like you can't just sit up there and say I'm gonna just do this without making any type of obligation on the dotted line. I mean, again, bro, it's so many different things that surround the true issue. And Kobe Bryant spoke about this. I don't know if you saw my beginning of the show, but he talked about this shit. He's like, bro, like overseas players are catching up to us, and it's not so much about just you know by coincidence, bro. Like they're literally. I grew up in the overseas. He grew up in Italy, so he's like He said the world has caught up to this. Was back in 2019.
Yeah, you could see it though. But I mean that like I said, you know what? I really wouldn't put too much on that just for the simple fact that, like I said, the NBA is popular. Eventually, as it spread, more people will get involved and they'll get better over time. And so eventually, it's like part of that American arrogance. We don't think anybody should be as good as us or catch up. But reality is, you give anybody enough of the same opportunity, you get more competition. It's just that simple. So I wouldn't put too much into that. But I think to your point that you were making earlier is right. It's not even so much about what they're doing, is what are we not doing to not stay ahead of the curve. And I think that all the things that people have been mentioning today are just parts of it. But I mean, there got to be some type of pride. And at the end of the day, it's like you should want to be a well-rounded, fundamentally sound basketball player first and foremost before you get into all the high flying, dunking, and learning how to do 360 windmill backflip dunks and shooting 45 feet for threes and all that. Learn the basic fundamentals of the game and master that. And whatever natural ability that you have to stretch your game out, it will show. But to me, it seems like a lot of guys they care more about the fancy parts of the game, the 30-foot, 35-foot threes, the fancy ball handling. Truth be told, a simple dribble, head nod fake, get a guy off balance, whether you do a pull up, get to the lane, that's just as effective as dribbling for 10 damn seconds and finally shaking the guy. But it's actually more effective because you use less energy and less time. It's just something about like managing time and managing your moves is much more effective than trying to be fancy and cook a guy. And it's just related to these streams. Everybody got to cook somebody. It's never about just making a point about what's actually right. No, I got to embarrass you. I got to cook you. I got to put you on a poster. I got to put you on a clip. You know, let's not be simplified in what we do and effective and efficient. Now, let's drag this shit out so I can show you how much better I am than you. It's just like wasted motion, wasted movement, wasted words. I just think that's the environment we're in today. Now, how do you change that? I don't know, because each generation decides what they want to be. So at the end of the day, it's on these young guys that's representing the game, like you said, LeBron and all these guys. These guys about to be retired and irrelevant. It's these young
Yeah,
guys. What do you want out of this game?
yeah. And I'm gonna piggyback off this comment. We gonna close it off in a little bit, but I want to piggyback off what Peggy 180 said. He said to stress the fundamentals of triple threat position, bro. They don't stress the triple threat position how it used to be stressed. No one in this NBA even likes to triple threat. Simple triple threat, catching the ball and being a triple threat type of uh um option. You know what I mean? Like it's all dribble. Like I'm telling you, like the simple basic things you used to be taught in camps and just playing basketball, they don't either not know or they don't want to do. They catch the ball and automatically start dribbling. And I'm like, I'm watching Anthony Edwards. And I love Anthony Edwards. I think he's gonna be the best player in the league in the next 4 years. This cat got caught or it's Tyrese Halliburton. He got caught like looking, not seeing his man
Okay.
in the driving lanes. And the number one rule you always was taught as a kid on defense is see ball and man. And I'm like, it was such a simple play that I don't see how you missed that. You didn't see that with your peripheral vision. Like simple concepts, bro. They actually literally missing when they're, I'm watching them on the court. And I'm like, do they not know like where to be on position on the court? Like I really believe they don't. They really don't know. At that
Yeah.
level, at that ability, that talent, you would think they know all the basic fundamentals. But it's a drop off, man, and it's showing on the court. And I think how you asked what's going to change. I think the only way it could change is if the OGs who they respect, like the Kyrie Irvings, like the Steph Currys, like the Kevin Durant's, like the Kawhi Leonard's, like the guys who are proven, who they truly respect, if they make it their business, if they make their obligation, hey, I'm gonna take one player and I'm going to, take him under my wing. I'm gonna like Jordan did to Kobe. I think each one of these players, man, on these top players, can take somebody under the wing. I think Kyrie Irving can mentor John Morant. I
Yeah, he can.
think I think Kevin Durant can mentor Paolo Banchero or Brandon Ingram. I think Kawhi Leonard can mentor Paolo Banchero. I think Steph Curry can mentor Trae Young. I think uh Jimmy Butler can mentor Anthony Edwards. Like these cats can, each one of these dudes, I see a little bit of one of those players I just named.
Yeah.
So
So
that's why I
like,
think you can change it. Go ahead. You see that all the time?
oh yeah, no, I was saying so. Yeah, it was like what Herm was saying earlier with veteran players like that. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But hey,
But
bro.
anyway, yeah, Jay, man. Yeah, it was cool to come on here and finally talk on the weekends, man. You got some really good shows, especially on the weekends. And Pagan, don't let you cook. Hey, you better cook me, man. I'll be 47 in 2 months. You better cook. You might better
Yeah. Hey, man, Oaktown's pleasure having you on again, man. Definitely appreciate you. I learned something myself today, so always a pleasure having you on, bro.
All right, man. Peace.
Peace. All right, y'all. So we got 2 hours and 12 minutes. I hope that y'all enjoyed today's show again. Like I said, man, I think we have a bigger problem than just, I think, just going out there and um I think we have a bigger problem than just, what's being presented, man. I think we have to get back to being what makes sense. And we got a lot of things we gotta clean up, but we just gotta be honest, man. Like it's not just about USA losing to, Germany or losing to Lithuania or this, that, and the other. I mean, I'm looking at the bigger picture. I just think there's a deeper issue when it comes to, American professional basketball players. Yes, American NBA players who have lacked and missed, simple certain concepts that, players of the past were getting. And the main thing is the fundamentals of the game. I believe the culture, the competitive edge has been lost. I believe the passion, the love of the game has been lost in the, what I'm saying, the American game as well. Just a number of things. I mean, yeah, there's certain players on this team I think can actually play at this level and be productive. And those actually the two players are the players on the screen right here, Anthony Edwards and Paolo Banchero. I think Paolo has a lot to offer to this game. But again, they need to be taught, man. They all need to be taught. There's nothing wrong with having OGs teaching. Kobe Bryant taught a lot of the young players. He took, obligation of doing that. That you gotta have a person who's been in those type of, venues and environments and situations for these players to have success. They don't have the blueprint. Like I said, LeBron, KD, Steph, Jimmy, Kawhi, each one of those guys can be teaching anybody on that USA team that they got beat this season or got beat by Germany. Each one of them. LeBron can put his arm around Jason Tatum, even though he didn't play on the Olympic team. He can put his arm around Jason Tatum. Kevin Durant can put his arm around Brandon Ingram. He'll listen. Jimmy Butler can put his arm around Anthony Edwards, he will listen. Kawhi Leonard can put his arm around Paolo Banchero, he'll listen. Kyrie Irving can put his arm around John Morant, he'll listen. Steph Curry can put his arm around Trae Young, he'll listen. So that to me is how you fix, and fill in the holes, man. Because again, overseas basketball ain't going nowhere. It's not. They're getting more and more hungrier to beat our team, man. And at the end of the day, we still have to represent America, and we still have to let them know like who's the cream of the crop. Not just having to send all of our guys who play all throughout the year anyway, who are getting older in age. You can't expect them to continuously play over and over and over. I mean, because you got to give your time body to rest. Like these younger players should be able to hold the fort down, without having to send our big guns every single time. But nonetheless, I hope y'all enjoyed the show today, man. Pagan 180 said, "Good show, BJ. Your food topics be food for thought." I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all continue to make me go. Appreciate you, Oaktown. He said, "Y'all great show. Y'all be cooking." Appreciate you coming on. Cam the Hooper said, "Big facts being was different." If y'all really want to continue to show y'all support, man, y'all love the show, hit that Cash App right there, man, for the love and support. Or if not, just hit the like button, hit the subscribe, share it with somebody who you think it can be beneficial to. That'll be even better. I really take a lot of pride in trying to get people this Saturday morning cooking. You have a long week of work or whatever, school, BS going on, maybe your relationship with your girl or something. This is a place where fellas can come on and just chop it up, bro. But anyway, we back on to tomorrow, Sunday morning, with a great show, me and my co-host Rick. So make sure y'all come through, man, and support the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Respectfully say, pull up a seat, pull up a chair, pull out. Peace. Out of here like swimwear.
When you look at the international game today, and I've been coaching in FIBA, for a couple of years with Coach Popovich and the Olympics in 21, the World Cup in 19. Nobody's afraid of the USA anymore because you got all these guys who over 100 foreign players who are in the NBA. They're not afraid anymore like they used to be. And if you look at the list of the best players in the league, however you want to make that list, there's three guys right near the very top in Jokic, Giannis, and Luka. There's great basketball being played all.
Like that. Woo!